tower friends, you know, for Mag. Brood is good for it though, so that's going to be an interesting sight here. And yeah, imagine, you know, we're just sitting here as casters. Imagine being 9Pandas going into this draft. You're like, you feel like you have your prep, and I don't know how much of your prep was really case here.
I think we're going to have a listen in.
All right.
There's Trample.
Listening in on Trample.
Sounds really good. Smoke up right now from both respective sides. Not going to find any action outright. But yeah, you talked about Dark Willow. We both talked about it. But we also have the Brood, which you did mention, but that's the hero that's kind of fallen out of favor. And why is that? The many nerfs have something to do with that, perhaps?
Yeah, it's definitely been hit quite a lot of times, but this is, I would say this is the player that sticks to it the most is Neo. Even after some nerfs when other teams in China were starting to give up on it a little bit, we still saw LGD absolutely obliterating games with this as a last pick. But in this draft, he picked it open-ended with 2 additional counter picks available for 9Pandas, and they obviously opted for the Morphling as the lane matchup. I think that's an okay lane for Brood. That matchup doesn't really kill Brood so much on the runes here.
Solo with the Astral Spirit. Look at these bounties to start the game. Astral Spirit comes out. It's a lot of spirits, in fact, this game is new. He'll be able to find his way out of the cliff as he makes his way to the offlane for LGD. So overall, like this game, talked about these crazy picks overall. From 9Pandas side, though, I mean, semi-normal for the most part.
Yeah, I was looking through their game history, and I think the most creative player they have in their team in terms of draft is actually Solo. I think Solo plays some very unique position 5s. We're seeing it here. He's going to run the Elder Titan, which definitely a team like LGD will not be too uncomfortable playing against, since this hero, historically speaking, I would say is a bigger pick in the China region than in any other region. So they should be very well aware of what this hero offers in that laning stage. Yeah, like you said, aside from that, not really too many surprises. Ramses on the Morphling, the Rubik counterpick to Magnus can't have surprised them too much either, but definitely some interesting flavor coming out. And the panel we're debating, okay, where's Primal going to go? Obviously ended up in the hands of MieRo in that offlane like they thought it would.
As we're seeing Skywrath Mage and Brood fight against Ramses Morphling and Solo's Elder Titan. And when it comes to team fights, Elder Titan is maybe top of the list for TI heroes, I feel like. This hero just always seems to come back one way or another. See how it works on this patch.
Yeah, a lot of the time at TI, teams will, you know, because the stakes are high, you slow down your play perhaps. It becomes more teamfight centric, and a hero like Elder Titan, or we saw in the last series Earthshaker, generally seems to have a little bit of a resurgence. And I think, I'm not sure exactly what Solo's scoreline is with this. I think he's won some, he's lost some this tournament. It hasn't been all clean. But I will say he's probably the player that played the hero the most, at the very least.
Yep,
should be warmed up.
Bottom lane, we're going to see a little bit of action there. Blood grenade onto Antares. The attempt to run away from this very hard-hitting tree and protector is why you smile.
Uh-oh.
More right clicks will do, or will one Shadow Realm is going to pop the Fairy Fire to just barely survive. They'd have to expend some resources, but and you can see from the LGD side, they didn't really have to expend much themselves to almost get that kill.
I'm just looking at this lane, I'm like, has this lane ever been played?
I'm sure in some really low above at some point.
I don't know, Tree and Willow against, at the very least, I suppose the surrounding heroes here are somewhat common in their respective positions, but the carry Willow plus Treant lane is, this is a really strong lane, by the way. Willow carry, it might sound uncharacteristic because the hero historically is mainly a support, but can definitely hold its ground as a core in lane, and you pair it with arguably the single strongest lane support in the game. It's a recipe for a tough matchup down here for 9Pandas, who are, I would say, holding their own for now. The main concern is that Shiro has 8 denies on his Dark Willow against Primal, a hero that has really high base damage. So that lane is, at the very least, for LGD
he's
so
still
far
just so
great.
shocked that it's a position 1. He just can't quite get those last hits. I mean, in terms of the build, I assume Aghanim Scepter is like the core item on this hero, and then attack speed in the form of, well, it could be anything, but we've seen Moon Shards in the past. What are you expecting from this hero long term?
I'm mainly considering what approach he's going to take against the Morphling in particular, right? Because this is a classic Morphling counter matchup. You turn into Willow, you have Ags yourself, and you just start killing people with the Shadow Realm. But if you have Octarine Core on Willow, I think the downtime once you have the level 20 talent for +2 seconds Shadow Realm is like 0.3 seconds or something that you're out of Shadow Realm. So if you don't land AoE stuns to prevent Shiro from just staying in Shadow Realm, I don't know if he actually needs to worry too much about Morphling taking his form. So maybe you don't need to itemize something like a Lincoln.
Mid lane, nothing to say. Getting bullied a bit here, but you can see in the last hits, he's doing A-okay against that OD. Kiyotaka playing one of his patented heroes, I guess you could call it, as the Shockwave comes in. This is another hero that we've been seeing kind of ramped up a bit, as we can see the Astral Imprisonment to start. Nothing to follow, because he doesn't quite have, I mean, is this a Meteor Hammer hero? So we can see TP supports coming in. Antares. See that one gets canceled there. Nothing to say, we'll get some deliveries from Why You Smile.
NothingToSay is doing really well in this lane. I cannot imagine this being a good lane matchup for Magnus. You're playing against OD, who historically just, or general, just destroys melee heroes in that mid lane, but he's 24-7 against Kiyotaka's 18-4, so even though he has to buy a healing salve to offset some of this pressure of the OD, his net worth is still going to look very healthy going forward in this game. And I guess it begs the question, how good of a Magnus game is this, right? Because if you're having a good laning stage against OD, which is, I would say, not particularly expected, how do you convert it in this game? Do you have good targets? I would say Morphling is one of the better carries at dealing with Magnus because he can, you know, if you get your shift off, Magnus might not be in his ult. The OD can save from the RP. You're playing against Rubik. There's a lot of potential problems here for NothingToSay.
I mean,
maybe
would you say based on the draft, just your guess here, since I know you like to be technical, the Dark Willow was first picked, I believe.
Yeah.
Did they know it was going to be a carry right off the bat for LGD?
No, but I think they rated that high because they have the flexibility. I think that's why they pick it so early, and also, you know, it's always going to be a bit of a surprise factor.
Yes. Yeah. That's one way to put it.
There's no saying that 9Pandas weren't considering this, right? Like, obviously, we were surprised, the panel was surprised, but it's not unheard of to play this hero as a carry, so 9Pandas might have been considering that as part of the reason they picked the Morphling when they did, right? They picked the Morph into Magbrood and the Dark Willow.
Well, not quite level 4, so can't just onslaught away. That's going to be an easy pickoff. And first blood for Planet. Takes a full almost 6 minutes. Talk about this game potentially being a bloodbath, but so far, it's the only kill.
Speaking of bloodbath, that first blood was actually the blood grenade getting the last hit. So very fitting to get first blood with a blood grenade. Wonder if that's why they named it that, because that's the oh, that's a missed blood grenade.
Went into the Astral Imprisonment there. Is Why You Smile can take a full sanity eclipse. That's enough to get the kill, but NothingToSay now completely surrounded. Another blood grenade comes out. Say trying to just walk away. Looks like he'll do so successfully.
I'd say the biggest winner in all of this is actually MieRo, who finally gets a little bit of breathing space, right? Like we've talked about how this bottom lane didn't go well for him to begin with against the Willow, and now with all the heroes rotating off the lane and he has a double wave in his tower, at the very least he's going to close in on his level 5 and start getting some PS. So that's the good news. The bad news is, for 9Pandas, you look at these last hits deny scores in general, top 3 all sitting on the side of PSGLGD, and there's a lot of denies there. I call it PSGLGD.
That's going to just LGD. Okay?
It's funny how that took a while to get used to, and now you got used to it, and now you need to remember to go back to the old way.
You really need to get your shit together, okay? Unacceptable.
Know. I know.
Absolutely unacceptable. Yes, just LG.
You wouldn't think you could be washed up as a caster as well, but you actually can. You can get washed in any.
That's true.
Yeah.
Planet getting chased a bit here by Solo. And have a lot of great setups for his eventual Mystic Flare to come. Between the Overgrowth, RP, I guess even Brambles to some
Brambles
degree.
are pretty decent. 2.5 second duration on level 4. It's the duration of Mystic Flare again. It's 2, so yeah, get the full value out of it. You line it up nicely.
Looks like Midas is being queued up here for Shiro. We've been seeing a lot more Midas. Some games we've seen, I think, like 7 or 8 mid lane. Kiyotaka taking a ton of damage. We'll get the Astralist saving himself a bit, but it looks like he might just drop to that Shockwave. Indeed he does. Echo Stomp from Solo just a little bit too late. Very valuable kill here for LGD.
To a 1k lead here, 8 minutes in. Again, oh, I thought for a moment Mag was also going Midas, so that's going to be Treads. We've seen games with 7 Midases this tournament. I think
what do you think about that? It means late game Dota is really fun, right?
Right. I mean, the thing is, obviously, it's no secret that the average game length has become longer in this patch. It's by design, but I think a lot of the time teams are maybe defaulting a little bit too much to Midas because you just have this mindset of, oh, the games are long, we want value.
Solo, he's getting devoured by you and all those little spiderlings.
The thing about Midas is even if you theoretically get a lot of value out of it in a 40 or 45-minute game, if it means that you end up in this awkward mid-game stage where you cannot put any sort of pressure on the map, even if you can farm, but you can't like limit the enemy team at all, they might still, let's say they farm 60% of the map and you farm 40, your Midases didn't do anything, right? Then they didn't pay off. Because maybe if you had active items, you could have instead imposed some sort of threat on the map. Gain that 60-40 advantage yourself. All right? Really hates that spider. MieRo will destroy it.
Actually, I think his creeps got the kill on it.
Oh yeah,
didn't
true,
even get the one. Very unfortunate.
He's really going to be missing that 3 gold later.
Well, if you get the full thing next time with the trample, then it's worth it. Yeah, very annoying hero to deal with, and a hero that they haven't really had to play against in quite a while. Kind of dropped off, but I mean, top net worth is new at the moment. That tier 1 tower will fall.
And this is when it gets extra scary playing against Brood. If you lose all 3 lanes and you don't have very good catch, which I would argue they don't have, when this Brood was picked, they didn't really have any heroes that were particularly good against it. You know, Brood's nightmare matchups are something like Spirit Breaker or some sort of heavy single target lockdown like Beastmaster, you know, any sort of long duration stun that people can kill you in. I'm not really that concerned here. I think if MieRo is ever showing, you're almost safe, I want to say. It's like you're going to need 3 or 4 heroes to kill this Brood, so Neo should be getting a lot of space on the map, and he's going to bring it to MieRo.
Steal for the silence. Is this going to be enough damage? It's off the onslaught. Looks like he will live. Still has to waddle his way back to base as Neo just has this lane all to himself. See, Kiyotaka has his Midas, so that's Midas number 2. Overall in the game, of course, we're counting, not for each respective team.
Just to specify, Kiyotaka is up by 2 Midas.
Right. You could do that. Probably lose the game. Nothing to say. Has some decent stacks here for himself. Always the self-empower with these core Magnuses being extremely efficient.
Yeah, looks like he's opting to rush the dagger. We've seen different approaches to Magnus after he became Universal Hero. Some players would go for the Echo Saber first. We've seen builds that don't have dagger at all, like where you go harpoon into stats, just like become this super hard-hitting carry with crit. But it looks like the dagger will be first on the menu here, so I guess their lineup can benefit a lot from having this catch, and maybe this is a wave. This is like telling for LGD's mindset in this game that they just want to keep putting on the pressure. I say that they have 3 kills, but you know, they're just playing the map better. 3k gold advantage now, and with Magnus having this dagger, it becomes even more dangerous for 9Pandas heroes to start moving out. It begs the question, where are your plays coming from as 9Pandas, right? Your mid hero's OD, it's not exactly a playmaking hero, and he went Midas. So, can you really stop LGD just farming the map? What are your plays?
You buy more Midases, maybe.
I suppose. That wouldn't be great.
Gonna see a smoke. This will be the blink reveal. They don't really want to go for this Rubik in all likelihood, but might just have to. There's the skewer in, and it's going to be an easy pickoff for LGD, who already have a 3k lead here at 11.5 minutes.
Middle tower is under attack.
No siege creep for them, so this mid push will be a little bit harder. Broodmother, one of the best heroes at pushing towers for 2 reasons. Obviously, Brood deals a lot of damage to it, but also just infinite tanking, right? You keep your creep wave alive the whole time. The spiders buy you so much time to get this damage.
The Astral Imprisonment just in time. But they actually messed up the timing overall because there's the RP, but another misspell. This time the Mystic Flare. MieRo getting extremely low. The Pulverize gets canceled instantly. That's finally the first death, and that's in favor of LGD. There's a nice Sanity Eclipse onto 2. Not enough for kill quite yet as Ramses comes in with that waveform. So they get the support Treant in the end, but my goodness, a lot of miscues from both sides.
To the tournament with the finest players in the world. Spell accuracy 40%. It happens.
That would be an amazing stat, by the way.
Sometimes you just mess up, right? It's one of those things where you kind of want to premeditatively plan how you're going to use the skewer and RP, but if it wasn't communicated properly, Skywrath might have thought, okay, you just RP, I ult on it, and then we skewer. Or, you know, just misjudged it perhaps, but all in all, when all is said and done, there's a 1-for-1 trade. LGD still get some serious damage out on that tower. And the writing on the wall is still that they're just gaining. And I have to say, Primal Beast for me, this hero is extremely powerful in a lot of the games we see. I don't think this hero plays particularly well this far behind, and the matchups that it has are pretty tricky. There's 2 BKB piercing abilities in the Overgrowth as well as the RP, so you don't even have the freedom of movement, even if you do itemize specifically against Willow. I'd say that's like the only item that truly unlocks this hero against Willow is that BKB. So MieRo, it's kind of a damn it if you do, damn it if you don't kind of situation. You have to pick pick your poison. There's no good build this game for this hero. And that's what you want to see when you first pick a hero, right?
Yeah, that
you want
is
the enemy
true.
team to shut it down, and that's definitely been the case so far from LGD.
That is definitely the case. That's why he's not even opting to go for BKB anytime soon, going for the full heart first, just to get a little bit tanky. I mean, at this point, I think you just have to force out these spells from LGD and just live with it.
I think this quick buy is like a Steam wish list. You know, it's like he wants all of these items, and he kind of needs all of them before it truly feels good. But it's a pretty expensive wish list. Gonna need some good gifts for that.
Antares, he's gonna get the telekinesis off, but this will surely be his death eventually. Okay, getting blocked.
He just missed twice.
Okay, there we go. Eventually fine, and now they're gonna get a beautiful RP onto the OD with the Astral. Not in time, actually, because the Mystic Flare was more than enough damage. So they end up getting the kill that they wanted originally. And now that they have a little bit of practice, Cinderin, they get the combo down, and they get the tier 1 to boot.
I have to say I'm pretty impressed with you, because usually when we cast, sometimes you call the team by the sponsor name. You have not called them hot dog yet.
I just
actually genuinely surprising to me, because I feel like when you see that word, you just have to say it. But
I mean, it just makes me hungry more than anything, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I mean, LGD are hungry too. I was gonna say they're playing with their food, but I mean, not really. They're just eating. They're feasting this game.
They're shoving those hot dogs down their throat right now with that 6K lead for LGD here at about 15 minutes. And shards will be unlocked shortly. Blade Mail now online for Mr. MieRo, which, I mean, that's a really good. I mean, obviously that's not like a very uncommon item to pick up onto the Primal Beast, but this game seems very good with a lot of the extra damage flying around.
It's great against Skywrath and Willow because they have this uncontrollable damage, and both heroes are relatively frail. So if they do cast their spells onto the Primal, it can push them. But as it stands, I think Shiro hasn't really needed to be particularly much involved. He has 1 assist on the carry Willow. He's just farming a lot. All right, we're going to find advantage.
That up.
Could be a good kill.
Be able to do anything about this nice ancient seal, preventing the pulverize outright as New just runs away casually. Beautifully done for Planet. Great positioning. And that wastes a lot of times for 9Pandas. That's 4 hero rotation for them.
Yeah, those feel bad. You know, you're already kind of getting cornered by the Brood. These moves have to be successful when you're finally committing this many resources to buy yourself a little bit of space. Great placement from Planet to counteract this move. Yeah, in the meantime, at the very least, Ramses is getting some pretty good farm on the Morphling. We haven't talked about him much. Usually Morph has this pretty significant build-up time. It doesn't particularly crush many lanes either, so a lot of the time just silently goes by and suddenly reaches critical mass. I think this is, if you're a 9Pandas fan, this is the hero you're holding out hope for. You want Morphling to get big, you want him to turn into Willow and start killing heroes in the fights during the stuns of Rubik and Elder Titan. Still just primarily going to be a matter of, are you going to have that space? It's not often that you're playing against Brood, right? Like, these teams obviously have experience from the past, but maybe, I wouldn't be surprised if in the last month, 9Pandas haven't played a single game against Brood, right, in this type of organized play, so it does change the game dramatically. It's a very unique hero in the way that it impacts the map. And
oh, they're getting squeezed in a bit here. NothingToSay has a shield rune activated. Not able to find anybody. MieRo is their target. Has been all game long. RP gonna get canceled temporarily as he tries to get another miscue, but they still have more than enough damage to take out the Primal Beast.
Was he onslaughting while being Overgrowth? I'm actually not sure, because they used Overgrowth to try to counteract this, right? But he still went driving, but then he also got skewered, so as everything all at once, you know. I don't actually know. Yes, it's not that important. The end result is the same.
Yep, he died.
He did die.
There's still hot dogs in the game. 8K lead now for LGD. I was not expecting this. Coming into this, I thought this was going to be a pretty even matchup. Throughout the year, I think 9Pandas have had a better year than LGD. LGD's kind of been up and down, where 9Pandas kind of, I feel like, not getting the recognition perhaps they deserve. They got, what, 3rd at Berlin. They got top 6 in both the Riyadh Masters and Bali Major. Like, they've had a secret, like, very, very good year. Yeah,
they're a stable team, but, you know, at this level of competition, especially with a bit, I don't know if you want to call this a pocket strat from LGD, because it didn't seem like all of it was pre-planned right, and I don't really think you can get any more into it, but to be fair.
It's close enough, though.
This is about as close you're going to get to a pocket strat, right? You first pick Willow and you turn it into a carry, and you pick Rue that nobody's been playing, so they're definitely bringing out something surprising. And okay.
He's not out. Get the Echo Stomp off and get away. Aghanim Scepter now online though.
Yep.
For Shiro, and that is the power fighting for LGD. Stands Eclipse. Okay.
Enjoy.
Got to get rid of those spiders one way or another. Don't have a raid bottle, so just use that ult. And without that, looks like LGD can feel very comfortable to go inside the pit for Roche number 1.
Spiders don't have much mana, so this this is great. That is quite the desperation play right there. It's like, okay, we're putting out fires. Okay, that's where we're at for 9Pandas now. But what I was gonna say was, you're right about the year and how things have been going. In any individual game such as this, if you get surprised and caught off guard like this, I don't think this game is indicative of the like power levels of these two teams necessarily, right? I think it's fair to say LGD are probably the favorites because of the group stage result and their first playoff match, but it's I'm not expecting this series to just play out this way.
Fair enough. No, nothing to say. Looking for a pickoff onto Antares again. Might not find it though, as the skewer well short.
Yeah, seeing Nothing to Say opting for the Lincolns over the Harpoon that I think a lot of Magnuses would grab in this slot now to execute kills such as that one. But, really respecting, I want to say, primarily the OD Astral, but also it's a little bit of layoff protection against Spell Steal, and it's a way of preventing more from turning into, which could also be a potential concern. I would say that's like the weaker reason for the Lincolns. But of course, he's a universal hero, so it feels great to buy it anyway. Item. A lot of damage.
Yep.
Let's see what kind of
Hero's
trouble
gonna pick up a nice invis rune, see if they try to set something up with it. Hurricane Pike now online for Kiyotaka. He's still gonna need quite a bit more farm here.
The lowest amount of kills on a team this tournament
is under attack.
2 kills?
Oh, for one team?
Yeah.
It might be.
Kiyotaka
is going to be found. Oh, forced that on the high ground. Nicely done, but it's going to send the Mystic Flare. Nothing to say. He's going to bring him right back, but no. Gets terrorized to the other side. And Kiyotaka stuck inside a corner with a bunch of spiders. He's not going to be able to get out. And Solo will follow him to the grave as well, though he was killed by a neutral creep. Okay. Oh, by the Tormentor, of course.
What is it with Eastern European teams and dying to Tormentor?
Okay. It's normal. It's only been out for like 8 months now. It's hard to calculate. MieRo will pop that blade mail, but no more action to come here.
They did get the Tormentor. I think that's an important detail here. It was, they got the Tormentor and all they lost was their support. They got the Echo Stomp Shard for Elder Titan, which lowers the cooldown and allows you to teleport to it, which you really don't want to do in this game.
Yeah,
so essentially it lowers the cooldown.
For this game, it's not the greatest. But it would have been between him and Rubik, and I mean, Rubik's we've seen many a time is very valuable for a save.
It's great against Magnus.
Yep, very true.
But that's how coin flips are. Sometimes it's heads, sometimes it's tails. Sunsven, over to you.
Thanks for the analysis there. 50-50. MieRo. Oh, he did actually change his mind here, so we'll be going for the BKB before the heart, despite there being so many things that go through it here.
Yeah, it's, again, it's one of those things where what are you going to focus on? Are you trying to get
Are you
trying to get maximum value out of your blade mail, or are you thinking, okay, if I don't have BKB, I can't even navigate fights at all? And Planet almost pulled a solo there.
Shiro actually gets the shard, which means there's other shards on his team. Yeah, Treant already picked up his, so it was a 50-50.
Yeah,
nothing to say, and you are so farmed.
And yeah, I was just gonna say, how often do you see Shiro be third net worth in his team in a 22?
Yeah.
You know, that just goes to show how good of a game the other players are having with how LGD usually administer their resources.
Enjoy, Dota. Enjoy.
Yep, that's what I would say if I was playing with Brood. If I was playing against Brood, I would not.
Yeah, not so much. So, do you think that using this Aegis is important? Because they've expanded their lead a bit. Still only a minute and a half left. Are they going to try to force the issue, or is there an item or some sort of thing they're waiting for?
I don't think it's particularly important. I think the most important thing here is just keep pushing lanes. As long as you have vision of the enemy team's movements, you're opening up for potential catches with the Treant Shard, you're opening up for skewer plays, you're opening up for, I mean, even the Willow can solo heroes, right, if it comes to that, but Shiro has frankly barely had to do anything this game.
The hero has
Running
barely
around
existed.
farming.
Yeah.
It's like we're the talk of the town in this game is like this. Oh, carrier Dark Willow, it's so exciting, and he's just hitting creeps, you know.
Oh, there's only 11 kills total in the game as the RP onto Kiyotaka, Ancient Seal to follow. Do they have the damage? Yes, but they can't deny him his goddamn Midas because he got it off in time.
Nice.
Congratulations to Kiyotaka on cooldown.
It's just not that important with the 2 charges, right?
True.
But
It's still exciting.
it's good. It's good. We have to celebrate things for 9Pandas that are worth celebrating. That was not one of them, but I'm glad you're looking for bright spots in this. Well, a bit of a beatdown. That
It's
this is
10-2, 9K lead for LGD. Aegis will be consumed in about 30 seconds, though.
So I think 9Pandas are waiting for this BKB on Primal, and then I feel like they kind of have to do something. I don't think you can just sit back and hope you farm up something meaningful enough. You've got Scotty on the Morph, you're getting this BKB on Primal, and granted, I still think this fight is going to be really hard, but you kind of have to try to do something. They're actually opting to smoke now.
Oh, Ramsey! Oh my god, the damage! One Mystic Flare was enough. Holy jeez, that's the state of the game for 9Pandas as the Aegis is now gone, but it matters not for LGD. They're going to get this tier 2 tower.
All right, that
Most
play,
likely more.
That play just straight up doesn't really make sense to me. You're 300 gold away from that key item on Primal Beast, and your save is dead, and then you smoked. So this smoke was essentially a 3v5. You don't have information about where the enemy team is, and I'm all for looking for a play here because, like I said, I think you have to do it, but bring your team. Going for that as 3 seemed a little bit naive and just hopeful.
Yeah,
And
the
got
second
punished for it.
fortification. Another 18 seconds for Ramses. See if 9Pandas want to force the issue. Curse Crown. Oh, they're going to actually disrupt the charge there. That's nothing to say. Taking quite a bit of damage. They will be able to walk away.
Oh, that's a lot of rambles.
Elder Titan goes off as well, but it's not going to lead to any meaningful kill. But at the very least for 9Pandas, they do defend.
Yeah. And this is where I would like them to make their move, right? Because now you are all 5 alive. You're naturally just grouped up right now, and the lanes, yeah, the lanes are bad, but they've been bad for 10 minutes, right? So kind of have to try to look for something now, but it seems that now they have their timing with this BKB, they're still chilling. Like maybe the Earth Splitter in their minds is extremely important for this upcoming fight, or is there some other item you're waiting for? Is this OD Axe really going to be it?
Yeah, what do you think about that Axe, by the way?
It's pretty interesting. I think against the lineup he's up against, it's kind of going to work. It works like an Eon Disc, right? It's a strong dispel, and then you get a lot of health. So it's a good line of defense against getting RP Mystic Flare comboed. But you're not really that strong offensively, right? With this, so you're very much at the mercy of Morphling getting to play a good fight, or a Primal Beast finding a key target, and that hasn't really been anything to rely on.
Smoke pops, they know somebody's here. They're going to find Solo, and simply silence. A nice sheep instantly as well onto the Primal Beast. But they have to cover Kiyotaka on the sidelines. MieRo's going to be able to get off and go for a decent amount of time, actually. As the Overgrowth comes out now. Onto the high ground he goes, but Mew can easily walk up it. Will pop his BKB in defense, though. 9Pandas losing. One as the RP completely whiffs.
Oh, stolen.
And Ramses now
Okay.
ready to fight back, and yeah, with that RP in tow, I think LGD have to be a bit careful.
Yep. I think the play now for 9Pandas is wait for your BKB on Primal to be ready in a minute. So you smoke in like 40 seconds, and then you want to put this RP to use. Antares is not going to be able to afford a dagger to make this RP more potent, but you have to look for what you're going to get. And I think the conditions now, this is as good as it's going to get. So I'll try to make the most of it here. If you wait for the next key item on Morphling, which looks like it's going to be the BKB, I think your RP is going to expire. And when you're this far behind in the map is like this, you're really counting on individual star plays, right? You need something big here.
Well, there's the sheep being shown again as Yu's Mom taking so much damage from the Arcane Orb. Kiyotaka just rips him a new one.
It's a good start.
MieRo gets credit for that kill. So no tree for 40. See how passive LGD want to be. I mean, we still haven't really seen Shadow Realm being put to use on any heroes yet, I feel.
He had a couple of times.
All right, barely.
He's been in there.
Smoke now from 9Pandas, really needing to find something.
Yeah, I like this move a lot. This is
You right on the outskirts.
I mean, any core kill here is big, right? The cores of LGD haven't died yet.
Planet will be found. They knew he was taking those Lotuses for himself. Easy pick off. So another kill for 9Pandas. They've actually doubled their kills in the last 30 seconds. Incredible display.
What do you think of Planet hot dogged?
Here we go. Sounds like a lot of heartburn. Second Roach is up the Aegis and Cheese available.
Are scanning.
And if 9Pandas can try to, I mean, they do have OD, and Morphling can be pretty decent as well. They can actually take Roche relatively fast.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, if this smoke gives them a core kill and Roche is up, I think that is the biggest avenue back into the game, is getting that exact outcome. But they only found Planet. They can't really capitalize on this too much, but at the very least, they're still holding on to, what's that, about a minute and a half still of the RP, maybe 2 minutes. So there is still another opportunity if they do want to look for it.
MieRo, not halfway done from his heart. Honestly, at this stage, maybe you just go for the blink. Unless you're really confident this game is going to continue past that point.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like what the blink play is. Do you just blink BKB and ult the mag if you can? Is that good enough?
Then the overgrowth you have to worry about.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? There's no like clear cut, okay, if we initiate the fight like this, it's going to be good. He kind of has to play the waiting game anyway.
Roshan has fallen into the ring.
Well, Aegis and Cheese are claimed for LGD. So Aegis onto Shiro and Cheese for New.
Right, Shiro's drawing an arrow. What do you think it means?
Hot dog time.
All right. That's a very interesting way of drawing that. Yummy. Well,
he's got a good neutral item for this game as well.
True. Grove Bow is the item for Dark Willow core, for sure.
Not too shabby.
In this tier, I don't even know if there's a tier 3 item that's better than this. Like, you could make a case for maybe getting the quiver, but
that's only one shot though.
yeah, I think this is probably still better.
I think so.
Maybe Titan Sliver when you're playing core, just because you're universal hero, so the flat out damage you get from it is pretty meaningful, with it being percentage of base damage.
Yeah, I think based on the fact that it's literally amplifying your Shadow Realm as
That's
well.
why it's so good, is that this... Basically every ranged hero in the game that we see take Grove Bow doesn't really benefit from this as much as Dark Willow. I guess the only exception is Viper.
Yep, true.
Obviously loves to find it as well.
We saw Viper today. Did not go so well.
Yep. And it's been picked in a similar situation earlier in the tournament by LGD, as a matter of fact, and they did win their game with Viper against, I believe, it was a bristleback of, I want to say Virtus. Oh, they played it again.
Well, I do believe that the Tormentor is now available for the taking. LGD could steal it.
I was just going to ask, who do you think they're going to sacrifice this time?
No, that's only 9Pandas will do that.
Yeah, well, if Pandas can get out, who do you...
There's aggression in multiple lanes now. 9Pandas going to do their best to defend. See the shield rune finally dissipate on the side of NothingToSay. There's the fortification. As the damage onto MieRo, just from afar, you can see that Shadow Realm being put to good use.
And this, actually, this right here is one of the biggest strengths of Willow carry that I think isn't talked about enough. This hero is incredible at sieging high ground, which is very counterintuitive, right? Like,
yeah, it is awesome.
There's so much attack range, and you can't really open on the Willow. They're gonna maybe try here. They got at least a stop on. It's just so far away. As long as you keep getting vision in the base, Willow eventually... It's just playing this like a sniper, right? Just
yeah,
it's
gonna hit that tower. New, okay, pops the cheese, then the Sanity's Eclipse comes, so he lives through the day. Now that tier 3 tower is down, LGD can kind of reset.
This is
Insatiable Hunger, Neo's back to full HP again.
That ability, I want to say, is crucial for 9Pandas to be able to kill. I think they really need OD's burst damage to get through some of these heroes. It's one of their only abilities dealing meaningful damage during Shadow Realm as well.
Arrow finally popped the BKB, going for the Pulverize. This is on the Magnus, doing a lot of damage. He's dead, 80 seconds of no mag. And with that, LGD will likely retreat. There's the BKB forced by Shiro. Getting up the Shadow Realm again as MieRo just dies helplessly on the sidelines. They're going to lose a second in the form of the Elder Titan as Ramsey's just trying to go down onto Neo, but it's a worry about his HP pool. Going to the high ground, not expecting that apparently. As Kiyotaka, finally the Agnes Scepter does activate, but it's going to lead to his death eventually. The Astral Imprisonment will give him a little bit of extra time. Going to try to blink to safety. Forstaffs as well getting whipped into oblivion, but will live through the day as Ramsey's attempting to get out as well. Will actually do so. So these cores somehow evading death, but it might still cost them some buildings if LGD stick around with that Aegis still in tow for another minute and a half.
Such a funny moment from Shiro. It's like he's just attacking ground, you know? OD astrals himself, and then he just starts hitting the Tormentor with the Willow. But Didn't really lead to much else. I mean, honestly, given the circumstances there for LGD, I think they should be very happy with this outcome. Their Magnus died to start the fight, didn't get RP off. There was a really good, quick defensive play there from Pandas to just flat out stun lock him until he died. And then they choose to chase out, which I think basically every team would have gone for that chase. But LGD just keep really strong formation. And obviously, they have the huge advantage of you have webs in this area, so Brood can find angles, and the Willow with Aegis is a borderline impossible kill. So that chase is really difficult to get anything from, but at the very least, they buy time, and the Aegis will expire before the next siege as a result. The question is, are you going to kill Willow? Are you going to find any displacement here? Stealing Skewer on Rubik might be your best option, or turning into Magnus for the Morphling to try to force the Willow into base.
When your win condition is turning into an enemy hero, it's usually not a good sign, as Antares will get the shard for 9Pandas. So there's your save.
This Tormentor being killed, we immediately see Shiro pinging his own Tormentor, who's like, oh yeah, this is up. That global announcement reminded them patch were playing. So I assume LGD will make some quick work of this here. And who will be the recipient of this shard? There's two candidates, actually three. And that is...
Okay. Horn Toss.
Decent. That is...
Shockwave.
Horn Toss and Shockwave.
That's right.
Horn Toss is the Scepter. I guess this was probably the... I want to say maybe the second best one they could have got. I think the Aghanim Shard on Brood here was probably the best. He is pretty damn strong on Brood with Empower, so...
Yeah, that one is pretty cool.
The Insatiable Hunger one is quite interesting.
I think the Skywrath one is good. Makes him really tanky. He's a tanky boy with it.
So it has its situations. This one is probably not going to reach any sort of breaking point in terms of surviving, because the majority of the damage of the Dire team is not even physical, right? It's Morphling Shotgun, it's OD with insane spell damage bursts.
Yeah, but you get int, right?
Yes.
That gives you magic resist, technically.
Gives you mana against OD, okay.
Solo, going to be spotted, uses the Ogre Seal Totem. There's the Shard Shockwave. Result in a kill, though. LGD, I mean, their lead has kind of, I want to say, halted a bit. It's been around 12k for a few minutes now. And that's with Aegis that was on their side, and the cheese that they already used as well.
Radiant's
It's
bottom
definitely
tower
flatlined.
is under
They're
attack.
not really gaining much on the opponent. So I
Dire's
guess for
middle
9
barracks are
Pandas,
under
hang
attack.
on, they have a little bit of a problem to deal with here in the mid lane. Some infestation, and Willow is almost taking the...
Okay.
That's half a barracks
They're going to
in
have
one
to do
Shadow Realm.
something. They will have to do something, and the Bramble's being really annoying for MieRo. And they're just going to have to give up their melee rack. So just like that. Oh, Echo Stomp does connect. It's going to open up any situation for 9Pandas. They're going to cancel out that onslaught right off the bat. And with that, they will retreat, happy with what they have gotten, which is the melee rack.
As if the Willow wasn't hard enough to find, now also has the Shadow Blade. So a secondary line of
Radiant's
defense,
bottom
and building in
tower is
toward the
under
crit
attack.
here for a break. Primarily, this doesn't work against the OD Axe, right? You can't break
Radiant's
highly
top
doubt it.
from
tower
going
is
off,
under
but you can
attack.
break the Primal Uproar, and you can break the Elder Titan Aura,
I think
which...
when you break the Primal Uproar, it just stops you from gaining stacks, I believe.
Yeah.
Radiant's top tower is
Situational.
fallen.
Break's not that good this game.
It's also just a feels-good item, right? Damage attack speed, more mobility, and more safety.
Now Kiyotaka has a Hex now.
Possibility of a surprise attack, which is obviously not to be underestimated, but he doesn't have a Hex to couple it with. Still, now he's going to go for the Octarine, as expected, on the Willow as his next core item. So once that is completed, that moment of opportunity you have against Shadow Realm is extremely narrow. The current cooldown of Shadow Realm being 12 seconds. With Octarine, that should go down to 9. And the duration is 7. So it's 2-second window. That's more than I said.
Uh-oh. The sheep being used onto Kiyotaka. Does have his Astral
Nice
Imprisonment available. Will get saved by the Echo Stomp to
Dire's
start.
courier
That's why you smile. He's going to find him on the backside. He's nothing to say. Pops his BKB, looking for a nice RP potentially. The ult does go up. Kiyotaka's Axe activates again. There's the RP to follow. And the Pulverize is there as well, keeping them locked down. But there's the RP. They lose the OD. As Shiro now trying to right-click MieRo. He's actually quite pathetic when he's not in his Shadow Realm ability. He gets off his Terrorize. Not really going to hit anybody, though. The Echo Stomp is there as well. There's a Skewer from NothingToSay, putting MieRo onto the cliff as Shiro finally goes down. And that's a triple kill for Ramses. Starting to clean up nicely for 9Pandas. Not showing much life in this game until this fight. That did lose Kiyotaka at the beginning, and it did cost a buyback.
That's
They're
still,
Elder Titan.
honestly, great result for them. Like, the way this all started, they get their OD caught. The RP, I think, was kind of lackluster. This is the one thing about Willow carry, right? Is that if the enemy is BKB'd, you don't deal that much damage. And when your Shadow Realm has been expended, you have this like little downtime until he gets this Octarine. Essentially, he's a damage dealer half the fight, right? You have 7 good seconds, then you have 5 really bad ones. And if those bad seconds overlap with the RP being used, or you don't have any sort of reach for your target, the Brood needs to do a lot of damage in that window to get something done. And they couldn't go on the Primal, he's too tanky. And Ramses, as a result, got to completely fight on that more.
5 seconds. If he just stays in the pit a little bit longer,
Yes.
they can actually claim. Oh! Oh, God! Oh, no. Oh, wait. He heard the crowd. Okay. There we go. Into the Roach pit he goes. And this is the 3rd Roach. That means Refresher Shard is now
Dire's
online.
middle barracks are under attack.
Can LGD do anything about it? I don't
Dire's middle
cannot
barracks
believe
has
so.
fallen.
2 cores still dead.
Okay.
10 seconds. The Spiders might.
Who do you give the shard? They're putting it on OD for the time being. There was perhaps a play with double Pulverize and double BKB, but I guess he doesn't have the mana to support it either. That's obviously a problem this hero has. Yeah, OD is probably the obvious choice here. Double Hex, double ult. This is definitely, I mean, we've been painting this picture of LGD being ahead the whole time, and obviously that has been the case, but with this flatlining and with this bad fight they just took and losing the Aegis
Dire's
over to the
middle
side of
tower
9Pandas,
is under attack.
they're definitely still going to be constrained to about 25% of the map, but they're not losing, right? They're narrowing the gap. Their heroes are extremely strong late game. Both Morph and OD are late game powerhouses, and Elder Titan is always this wild card that you can never forget when the game goes late enough. He has some great pairings too, because he doesn't need the armor removal from the natural order to do a lot of damage here. As long as his spirit is on top of them, it amplifies OD and Morph so much that, and Primal as well.
Now keep in mind as well, might be some action here. Or nothing to say with the shield rune. They're definitely ready to fight, but it's up against a Morphling with Aegis. The Refresher Shard, like you said, is on OD. The Aghanim Scepter, the Essence Flux active, cannot be refreshed.
Correct.
That would be pretty
That would be
hilarious.
interesting.
Yes, that is one way to put it.
Yeah, it's a 60-second cooldown on the Flux Shield, and I don't know if that cooldown could be reduced by Octarine.
I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. Yeah, I think it would be.
Probably, actually.
I mean, what
Or
skill in the
Smog
game?
when you need him.
What skill in the game would not be affected by that? I think it would.
Mech? You can't mech yourself. It goes on cooldown on yourself.
MieRo's gonna get skewered onto the other side. They lose their tier 1 tower. The RP on just the Primal Beast, but the right click damage from Shiro is absurd. All right, NothingToSay gets the kill though.
Keep in mind that was a BKB.
Oh, Mew on the other side of the map is pressuring the bot lane. You can see the rest of LGD trying to force them back so that he can just get these buildings himself. Ramses deletes planet in the meantime. No Bramble's there. They're gonna find the tree as well, but if that's gonna cost them the rack, that is definitely not what they signed up for. That is 2 now for the side of LGD.
Oh, nice waveform. Yeah.
So a great bait and switch from LGD. They essentially sacrifice their supports, and now they have 2 lanes.
Yeah, well worth it there. A couple of things to unpack in that fight. Willow's damage on the Primal Beast BKB was actually a lot stronger than I thought it would be. He killed him from 75 to 0 during the RP, and that is, considering if the Shadow Realm was dealing full damage, obviously that would have been a way faster kill, but so I guess it's a good sign for Shiro that he's able to kill the Primal like this, because it probably means he's able to do the same to Morphling as well, right? If they do find that catch at any point, you could maybe do the same to OD, obviously having to account for Essence Flux, but the damage is there, and it's going to stay. And now it's going to get even better. Octarine core picked up. He's closing in on level 25 for that 100 attack speed. But who knows? Maybe this game isn't even going to come down to a team fight. Maybe it's going to come down to a distraction, right? Like they just did there. If they can do that one more time and get the top half, that top tier 3 is only about 40% health left. So Brood can make quick work of this. A lot of damage on the Brood currently. He has the Shadow Blade too, so could maybe go for a little bit of a sneaky siege.
But
There's a
in
wave
an outright fight, we're 42 minutes in the game. 9K lead is not much. So maybe
this is all about vision, all about getting the jump.
Yeah, or just the ratting, like you said. MieRo will take the Arcane Rune. So he's got the BKB Blade Mail and Heart for the S&K now, but likely try to save for buyback.
Is there a big thing here with Rubik Ags that's going to make like a big difference? I guess Skywrath spells are kind of...
Well, yeah, Skywrath you just get doubled, right? Skywrath already has an Ags as well. That's why we saw the double Ancient Seal before. Yep. Landed pretty farmed. He's gonna buy himself a shard apparently. Keeps getting screwed over by the Tormentor. That's two 50/50s he's lost.
Well, what can you do? Sometimes lucky, sometimes unlucky.
Yep.
Here goes the Aegis of Ramses.
Third Aegis that has not just been used casually, right? Just expires on its own. 2 from the side of LGD and now 1 for 9Pandas. Of course, it makes a little bit more sense from 9Pandas side because they're just trying to hold on.
Yeah.
The longer this game goes, the more it favors them, despite being down 2 racks. But like late game Morphling is absurd. How would you put late game Dark Willow? We can talk about Dawnbreak if you want. I know you really like that hero, but
yeah.
Dark Willow, does she fall off at some point?
Dark Willow is really good late game. Probably only second to Dawnbreaker, but no, it's a really strong late game hero, especially when you get the level 25 talent. This exact build of having the talents and the Octarine is really what unlocks the hero's potential. Okay, we can actually see the exact timing now, so I think my math was off a little bit. There's 0.9 seconds that you're outside of Shadow Realm.
Alright, MieRo to the onslaught. They're actually going to lose Mew right off the bat. That is a very important hero, but Shiro deletes solo. So it's a 1-for-1, and now the buyback comes from the Brood. Ancient Seal not going to prevent the blink out from Kiyotaka.
Let's use a Refresher Shard for that, though. Just to refresh the blink. I guess he also refreshed his ult, to be fair, because he did use that for the Brood blow-up. But
can they hold on 5 versus 4? Of course, LGD, I'm sure, don't know that Elder Titan has no buyback.
Are scanning.
We'll be coming back in 15 seconds, though, and he's about
Radiant's
160 gold away.
The waves are decent here for 9Pandas. They have a good push up top. It's at the top tier 2, but...
Yep, just Dark Willow core things. You're going to see a lot of these in pubs now after this game. Win or lose, honestly. Continuing on with that Shadow Arm onto that melee racks. MieRo jumps in, instantly hexed. Kiyotaka gets off the Astral Imprisonment. There's the RP. It's only onto 1, though. It's the Primal Beast as Hot Dog as the Dark Willow pops the BKB himself. As Ramsey's taking so much damage, he goes in really deep. He's dead. Does have buyback, though, as Kiyotaka there. Is the Essence Flux finally activating? We'll be able to blink to safety as a result. They do get that Dark Willow in the end, so a 1-for-3 with a couple buybacks from 9Pandas.
That Morph buyback is really expensive. Not only in terms of gold, but in terms of like win probability here, because if you kill Morph now, the game's just over. Like, way too much of the net worth and the power of 9Pandas rests on Ramsey's shoulders here. And you just had a perfect example of how this hero just kind of can't commit into the enemy team. Despite having the attribute shift running, he just got obliterated by the Dark Willow. So, has to be very, very careful. Either he has to be careful, or you go for, you know, a really high-risk play now. It's one or the other. I think some sort of playing to stay in it is... I don't know. It's tough. I think you probably need another Aegis at this point, right? If you're the side of 9Pandas before you can really make an aggressive move. Rush early respawns in 10. If you're lucky, you could get it before Willow's up.
I think we find out in 10.
Yeah, the early respawn is in 10.
Yeah, if it were to early respawn.
And they are, you know, I wouldn't say they're banking on it, they're hoping. They are inhabiting the area.
2 minutes.
Its diffusal.
A little bit over 2 minutes for that Roche.
Yeah.
So Shiro will be back, and we can see that he has buyback anyway. If he were to die. Of course, New does not. It's all about the buybacks from both sides, and like we talked about, 9Pandas are depleted for the most part. Kiyotaka, the main one that has his available. I do think this is going to be a Roche off eventually into potential end of the game. Most likely.
Yeah.
So it will be nighttime still when Roche spawns, and it'll be a full minute before he moves back down to the bottom, where he'll randomly gain an Aghanim Scepter, of course. Lore friendly.
What do you think about Willow putting Bedlam on her own Manta? you think that's...
I mean, it's cool.
What do you make of that? Do you think it's fair or good or weird?
It's interesting. It could fake them out. Maybe they think it's real.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good way to push waves. He's literally just sending in his Manta and putting Bedlam on it, right?
Yeah.
It's just something you don't very commonly see. Guess fair is the wrong word. Oh, smoke break.
MieRo
Quick
unable to find a
reaction.
connection. Kiyotaka is right behind him. He's going to get instantly hexed. There's the RP onto 2. Can they take out the OD? Aghanim Scepter does activate again. He's going to get rooted up in an item. Mystic Flare onto 2 heroes. There's the buyback onto the tree, but the OD is lost along with the Primal. Kiyotaka buys back into the game. Couple buybacks from LGD as well as Shiro finally takes a tumble, and now he will finally use his buyback. They're going to try to force out this eventual buyback from Kiyotaka, and with that, it'll be a 4v5.
If they don't know for a fact what the buyback status is of these dire heroes, that was a huge gold swing, right? For the side of 9Pandas there. I believe accounting for the buybacks, it's not really about the gold at this point, I suppose, but, you know, as much as we talked about Morph not having buyback, now there's multiple cores on the other side, so
Yep.
9Pandas somehow get a good fight out of this. They obviously
There's
have to
buyback.
make their OD.
There's the 4v5.
Yes, LGD are just gonna retreat and take the Roche now.
Yep, Roche is up. See if they scout it. A lot of buybacks used by a Hot Dog team. As Shiro with that Shadow Realm going to town on that melee racks. He's not going to be able to dodge out that Echo Stomp though. No follow-up quite yet. He's already at half HP.
He back,
Then he's going to
remember?
try to get it up with the instant silence again. Beautifully done from Planet. Right place, right time. Saves Shiro's life. Has to pop his BKB because of the shockwave. Ridiculous distance from the Rubik. And just like that, 9Pandas defends with 4.
Wow, I'm actually genuinely very surprised that LGD took that risk. They're 5-on-4. They know Roche must be up at this point. They can take control of it. They have 2 lanes pushing in mid and bottom. And Shiro still goes to hit the high ground. And if it wasn't for that insanely clutch sounds coming out from Planet, that would have been a dieback on the Willow. And then you lose Roche too. So that was massively high risk for
Radiant are
just a little reward. Oh no, here it comes.
All right, well, Aghanim Scepter on Mr. Roche. Yep, oh, the smoke up though. Kiyotaka and company, I think to say will be pretty difficult. Link hits his pop, he uses his BKB as well. That's why you smile. Trying to force Kiyotaka into a rough spot, but there's the telekinesis save.
Mine.
And the shockwave is basically global on Rubik. And that one is global. Living armor. Not as useful.
Can make the difference.
It could, theoretically, sure.
It's nice. Getting that 10 armor on your core of choice. But yeah, this moment right here should define the game.
I
right?
think
this,
so, too.
This is this flat-out game deciding. If they find a key core kill on either side without buyback, this could snowball into just a full-on game end. And yes, that could also be 9Pandas pushing down mid as 5, despite not even taking a tier 2 tower this game. 51 minutes in. They could win the game in one push because Morphling is one of the kings of quick pushing.
And now they're starting to put those Lincolns onto Shiro, knowing how fragile he is on that Dark Willow. Oh, but Kiyotaka in the pit? Are they going to be able to scout this out?
Dashed.
He's already at half HP. I mean, this is a hero that can definitely take it fast. As Kiyotaka is going to get some company with Ramses now. And I think they're going to get this for free. A big take for 9Pandas. They get the Aegis, they get the cheese, and Aghanim Scepter. See who ends up taking it.
And again, let's
Can
remember.
they get out?
Let's remember this.
Radiant's bottom tower
This was
is
probably
under
just
attack.
flat out LGDs if they had chosen to go for it, right? So
Dire's
not only
middle
did
tower
you not
is
get the
under
Roche,
attack.
it went to the enemy team. And that's about a, I don't know, how much of a gold swing is that? Like 15K?
Wait, did they leave the Ags in there? Is that what happened? You just pinged the
Yeah,
Ag shard.
I'm surprised there isn't more net worth on the Dire side right now.
Aghanim's Blessing dropped here. Antares is the one that pinged it. It probably ended up getting it anyway.
Where is it?
Well, Kiyotaka already had his Antares. Okay. Oh, Ramses maybe took it.
Antares has, so Ramses used it. I just thought they were going to get more net worth out of this situation, but... Okay. Oh, now he has Morph.
Illusion.
How good is that here?
I don't know. You tell me, you're the analyst.
I think it's okay here.
So I get paid the big bucks, huh?
Well, what were the alternatives? You could have gotten it. You could have got it on Primal, but he's buying it, right? He's 100 gold away. That's his next item, and the final option was Elder Titan, who can't really use it very well. So, yeah,
It's more a core.
it was kind of just the. It was the best option they had, but none of them were really that great.
I mean, you're also taking it away from LGD.
Of course, I mean, that's the biggest thing here, is that LGD did not get it. Because they could have, for example, got it. I think the one on Treant this game could have actually been really interesting for LGD with the state of the game, right? Starting to get Eyes in the Forest out, you just need, you need to find that one key pick. But now that the Aegis is in the hands of 9Pandas, I think this game again is going to hit a little bit of a lull, because LGD aren't really interested in taking a high-risk play offensively right now without their buyback on the Willow. Like, what do they have to gain? You just need to keep controlling the waves, have Broodmother push it out, have a little bit of maybe a Treant, Nature's Grasp push out a wave here and there, and Shockwave from far away. Dodge. Buy time. If you look at this from 9Pandas' perspective, they're not seeing a hero, right? Their waves are getting pushed, but it's all low commitment pushes. It's Manta from Willow, it's Broodmother Spiderlings. And how are 9Pandas going to use their Aegis? 2.5 minutes left. I mean, I guess the name of the game is not using it. That's this game we haven't used it.
That will follow the trend. Both teams will have 2 apiece at that point. But yeah, I think just waiting for the buybacks, and then we're gonna have to reset this. And who knows? Maybe we'll get to that special time in the game, Sundaran.
Oh, you start dreaming. You generally start dreaming of it minute 40. I'm impressed with your restraint. We got to minute 54:22 before you started talking about tier 5 neutral items.
I mean, to be fair, I think about it minute 1.
Yes.
Like, legitimately.
This is probably a personal best for you, actually.
I do have a problem.
Yes.
More than one, some would.
Yes.
Ramses, fully loaded. I mean, what can you even buy at this point? Is it Moonshard time, or do you backpack the refresher after you use it and replace it with something else?
I guess it's Moonshard, right? I don't really know what he can improve here. I think you really need your Manta in this game. So you're against Overgrowth. It can be a nice little line of defense against Skyrath Silence. So you're probably keeping that one. You're keeping your BKB. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think you can swap anything out. So it's got to be Moonshard at that point, right? Unless, is there some sort of cool Swift Blink build here where you blink and assassinate someone waveform out?
Oh, kiyotaka really wanted to eat that hot dog, but it was not for him to ingest.
Well, if anyone eats a planet hot dog, it's OD, right? I think that's
the lore?
That's pretty lore friendly, yeah. That would be a frequent visitor of the Galactic Cafe.
I've asked Slacks about that one. Level 25 now online for Primal.
Wasn't there a cartoon, a children's cartoon, about like some sort of space family that went to a restaurant?
The Jetsons?
Is that what it was called?
There's a Dota game happening right now.
You would know this. Yeah.
We're aware.
Well, we're currently waiting for Aegis to expire, so I feel like in the meantime we can talk about other stuff until when Aegis is expired, then it's go time. Then we're going to see the fight break out. So maybe you're right.
Oh, Kiyotaka stealing
Sneaky
a Wisdom Rune. He goes from level 27 to level 27.
Oh no, don't do it. Don't fight the Tormentor. Don't do it. Oh my god.
Wait. No. He can do it. He can do it.
He cannot do it.
Kiyotaka, keep doing it.
All right, fun fact about that attempt, it was not even remotely close.
Oh, the sheep onto Ramses. Do they have the damage? The RP, but the save is there from Antares. And Ramses will survive.
Great.
That was scary.
Great save.
Kiyotaka was healing. I'm sure he didn't want to admit to his team why he was healing in the fountain when there was no heroes remotely close to him. He's going to blink into the corner. He's going to force that in. They're going to be able to see him. Oh, he gets Texto. There's the RP finally to come. OD is dead. No buyback at all. And MieRo will follow suit. He does have his buyback available. There's the waveform from Ramses. He's able to clean up one. That's a form of Mew. So no Brood to come, but he does have his buyback available right now. Looks like Antares is going to die on the sidelines. And there's a triple buyback coming out, making a quad from 9Pandas. As Ramses has to be careful to get the waveform in, but it looks like LGD are on the run. They're going to lose their Treant Protector. NothingToSay able to Shadow Blade away.
Is mine.
My goodness, what the hell was that fight? I mean, that's 4 buybacks for 9Pandas and only 1 for LGD.
Yeah, that's expensive. I guess the good news for 9Pandas is they did not need to burn the Morphling one, so he can frontline in the coming fight and have that buyback for a potential play. But yeah, that was expensive. Still, Considering how that started, OD blinked in, got stuck, four-staffed in, and got hexed. Did not have Essence Flux because guess what? It was a cooldown from the Tormentor.
Boy, oh boy. I
Uh,
told you the Tormentor was important, Cinderin. Maybe
game,
not in this
okay,
way.
late game Tormentor is just a trap. Okay, like you, risk reward, boys.
Everyone has shards, basically. Oh, he wants revenge.
Oh.
Okay, can he do it this time? Solo is coming to help out. Kiyotaka is like, never mind. I almost threw the game by doing that.
I think he learned a lesson here. He's like, this is a trap, so
Oh,
he's just
Mew,
gonna
if they
wait.
can get him, that's a dieback. Gonna get Sheep. There's the buyback onto the train. Protector. Big shot into clip. Down goes Brood. No buyback from the side of LGD.
That
Like
is-
that, it's a 4v5.
Dire's middle tower is under
have
attack.
given so few freebies, I want to say. Most of the kills 9Pandas have got in this game, they've really had to fight for in these moments, but that one time Neo out of position.
It's time for Tormentor number 3. Can you do it this time?
They-
LGD?
they're-
LGD?
Just do something else.
This Tormentor has been a trap twice over now for each side.
Hopes up. We're 1 minute away from tier 5 neutral items.
Don't get me too excited.
So if you wanna start theory crafting a little bit about which ones you would like to find.
All of them.
All right. Well, you're gonna find 5 of them for each team, so 10.
Well, I would think that, what's the, man, I can't remember the name. The one that gives you stats only.
Apex.
Apex on OD would probably be good, I would
Okay.
assume. Something like that.
Seems like a pretty dope game for Book of Shadows.
I was going to say Book of Shadows is, I think it might be the strongest one in general. It's just the usage is so difficult.
Yeah, it's a very good item to have on Rubik this game, though. He has insane cast range. He's kind of playing as a save anyway. It's away from... Oh.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Okay.
attack.
Mew gets a little prize in the grave. Still
Yeah.
50 seconds left on his death timer. And he will have, that's the insatiable hunger one, right? Yes.
Radiant's bottom
I feel like
tower
when
has
Tormentors
fallen.
came out, people were a little bit on the fence about, is it a good name for it? It's a pretty good name. I mean, think about what it does in the game.
Torments you? Sure.
No, I mean, people really want to get it, and they... I mean, how many players have burnt their fingers so far in this tournament?
That is true. Could have been called Masochist.
Radiant's bottom
make
tower
absolutely
60
no
minutes
sense.
has arrived! Tier 5 item, Cinderin!
Oh.
Mirror Shield is the first to drop.
Wait, how many Midases does each team have? So OD had one, so that was a direct item there.
Okay.
And...
They're so spread out, it doesn't even matter. They're
it's
going to
the
get them.
It's
alright?
the only Midas in the game, so... Bit of an advantage, 9Pandas there.
Yeah, huge advantage. Boy, oh boy.
Imagine they
Pirate
got-
hat. Oh, that is a delicious one for Dark Willow.
That is very good. But imagine you got 5 tier 5 neutral items before the enemy team got any. If you had like 3 Midases and you just immediately used them, right? And then smoke.
I'm not listening to you. I'm just looking at the items that are showing up on my screen. Apex onto
Understandable.
Morph, Seer Stone onto Tree, Book of Shadows for OD. Maybe we're thinking that might be on a support, but that's just another save. I mean, he has Astral for himself or a teammate. He has his Aghanim Scepter, and now that item.
Ramsey's
Dire are
rocking
scanning.
400 agility right now.
Normal.
That's a lot of agility. Book of Shadows and OD, as you said. The rest is, there's a token now coming from Primal Beast. Love to see the Giant's Ring, just so he's bigger. Not particularly because it's good, it's just funny.
Radiant are
It
scanning.
is. That is accurate. I can attest to this.
Yes.
He's really thinking about it.
He is thinking.
Maybe we get to see a Fallen Sky. Okay, he's going to go for the Force Boots.
Okay.
Good against Tree. I believe it does dispel that.
Yeah, frees up a slot for his Face Boots as well, right? So he can,
Yeah,
Put
good for
something else
Ancient.
there.
He's been getting Ancient Sealed all game.
yeah, fair.
Of course, he's been getting hexed as well, and that will not help him in that scenario.
But his item that he's queuing up will, the Aeon Disc.
True. All right. Well, Roshoff will be happening. He is not up yet. 35 seconds to go. And yeah, it'll be daytime. Plenty of
So
time here.
LGD are missing 1 tier 5 neutral for Brood.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Should have gotten that Midas.
9Pandas, we're missing 1 for the Elder Titan. Keep in mind, Seer Stone on the Treant could be a game-winning item potentially if you use it well for that vision. As that will break here.
Yep, nice overgrowth from Why You Smile, but they're not going to be able to stand inside that Ancient Seal. Nice hex. They're onto Ramses for the time being. MieRo gets off his ult though, and that is going to be a deleted Magnus who has to buy back into the game. Shiro already at half HP. He's going to have to use the Shadow Realm now, focusing on the support, but he's taking a lot of damage from MieRo, just shadowing him with that uproar. Be able to blink out to the high ground. Another Shadow Realm is there, Solo. His Eon Disc procs. And MieRo trying to find somebody in the trees. They're going to find Planet. He dies. So just like that, 2 dead for LGD. Both have bought back now. 9Pandas in a pretty good spot, but remember the lanes are pushing.
Yeah, they're
especially that
getting
mid lane.
They're getting mega creeps in about 30 seconds if 9Pandas don't bring a hero back to base. So it might be what LGD are banking on here.
And Ramsey's in the pit. They're going to take Roach extremely fast. As there's a Shadow Realm again doing massive amounts of damage. Not quite enough for the kill. Now being shadowed by MieRo.
Yu is going for the megas.
He is indeed. They only have the range racks for now. The Shadow Realm now. Antares, he takes the RP all by his lonesome. So not the greatest thing for NothingToSay. They will get the kill in the end. That's a dieback essentially because it's 2 minutes for no Rubik. Echo Stomp. Wasn't going to connect on much other than the Magnus. So double kill for Shiro. So they are finding kills in the backline. There's the second RP into the arms of Shiro. The hot dogs are too much to handle for 9Pandas. As MieRo, oh yeah, blinks out thanks to the Eon Disc. Can they find him? Yes. The Curse Crown with that shard activating as triple kill for Shiro. And Ramsey's attempting to TP out. He will do so, but only 2 alive for 9Pandas.
All right,
this is going to be a tough defense.
This is a knowledge game right now. If LGD are aware that there's no buybacks here, this game is probably just going to end in a moment. But they might not have kept track of this and know the exact timing of these buybacks. They do seem to want to go aggressive, but at the same time, Shiro is quite a bit away. Kiyotaka and Ramses could maybe find a quick burst kill. Maybe that could set up for something.
Oh, man. Yeah. If they knew.
Yeah, there's 50-second cooldown on the buybacks. So if they don't, I mean,
they're going to try to force it regardless, even if they didn't know, right?
Yeah, but they might be a little bit hesitant about diving for kills that they can get, right? So you're probably a little bit timid here. You'll get the megas,
sure, but
how are you going to go for the jugular? Well,
Tier 4 is going down quickly as well, and just the Ancient exposed now as Ramses and Kiyotaka trying to defend 2 versus 5. Can they do it? I highly doubt it, but they're going to try. 48.5 HP is the Ancient. Waveform into Ramses is going to get Hex right off the bat. There's the Ancient seal to follow. The GGs are called as the Ancient gets destroyed. And LGD take game 1. The Hot Dogs reign supreme, Cinderella.